Welcome to this special edition of Takeaways in 3. I'm Ambe Tierro. I lead Accenture's Advanced Technology Centers in the Philippines. I'm excited about this special episode because we are celebrating International Women's Day, and I have two special guests who will talk about how we are creating an inclusive environment, especially during these challenging times. According to the latest W20 report, which was produced in collaboration with Accenture Research and Quilt.ai, the COVID-19 pandemic has extended the timeline for the world to achieve gender equality by 51 years, from 2120 to 2171. Before the pandemic, women were already underrepresented in formal employment, especially in senior career levels in sectors like technology. COVID-19 has made it worse. So what can we do to get back on track? It's not all doom and gloom. And in this video, we would like to share with you how Accenture is contributing in 3 areas: education, employment, and digital inclusion. Let me start with education. I have 3 examples from Accenture in the Philippines. First is we are working with organizations like Women Who Code, Girls Will Code, and the WeTech community to facilitate learning activities for young women to encourage them to pursue careers in technology. I've been personally involved and have met these young women, and it's very inspiring because these orgs were founded and led by young women, and it's energizing to see their passion for learning. The second example is Hour of Code. This is a global initiative of Accenture which the Philippines team has really embraced. Prior to the pandemic, our employee volunteers would go to public and private schools in Metro Manila and Cebu to host Hour of Code sessions. I am personally invested in this because I learned coding when I was young, and I think it's very important to spark the interest of our young boys and girls and build their passion for tech. And guess what? The pandemic didn't stop our employees. So just last December, we hosted hundreds of students virtually in an Hour of Code. The third example is our Skills to Succeed Academy. This is a project of our corporate citizenship, which we have done for years. And as of 2020, we are proud to have skilled more than 3 million people around the world to enable them to get jobs or to start their own businesses. So these are just some examples of how we are addressing education. At this point, let's talk about employment. I'm very proud to introduce the Integrated Global Services Lead of Accenture, Ramnath Venkataraman. Ramnath, how are we making sure that women and LGBT are represented at all levels in Accenture?
That's a very interesting question, Ambe. But before I answer that question, the gap that this pandemic has created, 51 years getting pushed back for us to get to parity, is clearly not acceptable, is it? We need to make sure that we're doing everything possible to bridge that gap and accelerate the equality and make it work much faster. Accenture is absolutely committed to making this work. We will get to a 50% equality as far as gender mix is concerned by 2025. We continue to stay committed to that goal. As far as women in leadership is concerned, our goal is to make sure that we get to 30% by 2025. We are already at 25%. In 2020, we achieved that objective, and we need to get to 30%, and that's something that we'll stay committed to. Now, obviously, none of these come without a structured program in place. And I'll talk about a couple of them. First one is really a program which is called Developing Our Women program. And that's focused around our mid and junior level women employees, to provide them with the opportunity to network, broaden their perspective, and create a system where they get to see a wider world and generate opportunities for career growth. Another exciting one is called Tech Well program, which is targeted a little more senior employees, where you get an executive mentor who really is personally engaged in making sure that we are nurturing the leadership potential in our women leaders, providing them with the right career opportunities, opening doors where it's required, providing the right advice on what steps to take, and make sure that we continue to enhance our women in leadership. So these are really some of the programs that are going to help us get to that objective where we get to parity much faster than what was anticipated.
Thank you, Ramnath. It is truly inspiring to see women rise up from the ranks and to take senior leadership positions at Accenture. Now let's go to digital inclusion. It is my great pleasure to introduce Accenture's Group Chief Executive for Technology and our Chief Technology Officer, Paul Daugherty. Paul, can you talk about how Accenture is improving the access of girls and women to digital technology?
You know, I've often said technology is shaping our future, and the kind of future that will be depends on the choices we make today and how we solve some current problems. And one of the big problems today is equal access and inclusive access to technology. And that's why this is such a priority for this. You know, if you look at access to the internet, 2.3 billion youth around the world don't have access to the internet. And you know, how's that going to impact their future? A lot of women don't have equal access to the internet, to technology, digital technology. The same is true of many underrepresented minorities. That's why this is such a priority for us at Accenture, because we believe equality equals innovation, and these choices we make are essential to shaping the right future for all of us. So we're doing things like collaborating with the Business Roundtable in the US, pushing the US government and Congress and the White House for new programs to advance access to technology. In the UK, United Kingdom, we're involved in initiatives to roll out technology and provide access to many more that need it. Similar initiatives around the world. And even in my own town, I've gotten personally involved because with the COVID pandemic happening, many of the children in our school district do not have access to the internet and technology at home, and we've had to step in and figure out how to help them. So these are things that we really need to focus on for the future. The other key priority is the skills in education, and that's why we're so involved in many ways with this at Accenture. Our TQ initiative is about raising our own technology quotient across all of our people, and we're doing TQ in our communities around the world through initiatives like Girls Who Code, building the next set of computer science majors through that wonderful organization, Code.org, many other groups and many of our teams around the world partnering with these organizations to make sure that women, underrepresented minorities, and everyone has the skills they need to thrive and help us shape this this technology-enabled future in a way that's promising and exciting and offers opportunity for everyone as we really shape this bright future.
Thank you so much, Paul. Amazing stories on how we are increasing digital inclusion in our communities. To wrap things up, let me get your thoughts on how people, particularly male allies like yourselves, can build inclusive environments for women, LGBTQ, and persons with disabilities.
It always starts with you yourself. And you need to have the courage and the conviction that you want to be a person who makes the difference and creates an environment that is extremely inclusive, whether it's to make sure that we have more women leaders, whether it's to make sure that we have an environment where LGBT individuals can thrive and grow, or people with disability really have the right opportunities. And it really starts from inside. It needs to come from the gut, where you are believing that it's the right thing to do and you're staying as an ally. And if it comes from within, then you automatically create an environment around you where your immediate set of leaders that work with you automatically become allies. Now today we need to bridge the gap, and a lot of our leaders are men, And it's very, very critical that all of our men leaders become critical allies in making this program a success.
Equality is essential. It's at the core of what we believe in Accenture, and inclusion is important to bring that equality to life. And I'd offer 3 tips or 3 requests for everybody at Accenture on this front. The first is live it. Live inclusion and equality in the way that you behave. Learn about others. Learn about how you can be a more inclusive leader and help others. So live it, and then work it. Bring this to your teams. If you shape your teams in this way, shape the recruiting that we do, shape the way that we behave, the way we structure all our processes, and address the issues that we need to make sure we have an inclusive workplace and we really are bringing equality for all. And then the third is lead it. As a leader, spread this to your teams, teach others, and make sure that it's not just you, but that you're building the future by bringing others along. So live it, work it, lead it, and we'll create a bright future for Accenture where inclusion and equality for all leads to innovation and great success for all of us going forward.
Thank you, Paul and Ramnath. I am truly grateful that we have male allies like you and equality champions in our organization. That is all the time that we have. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Takeaways in 3 and that you have gained insights on how you can build an inclusive environment in your workplace, in your communities, and in your families. This is Ambe Tierro, and that's a wrap.